Welcome everybody to Operators. Very excited about today's guest, Leonie Lynch. She's joining us from over in Ireland. So I know we always get people calling in from all over to our Operator series, well beyond the United States, where I am. And so again, excited to have somebody come in from overseas. And so you all know the rules. Throw in the chat where you're calling in from. I'll go first. I'm down in Southern California, for Orange County, California, if I know how to type. Throw in the chat, get your questions coming as well while I introduce Leonie and we can hear directly from her. So when Leonie first started out Juspy, which is where she is the founder, she was juggling motherhood, studying for a PhD, running a new business. And after a frustrating several-year journey, she made the big pivot about 2 years ago, so May 2019. And instead of fresh ready-made drinks, she reformulated it into a shelf-stable product. So excited to hear about that, and I'm sure that just allowed her to scale a bit more and ship to a much larger customer base. And so today, we're going to talk about identifying if or when you need to pivot your product offering to expand your target market. How to unlock more time. I'm really excited to hear about how she's been able to find more time in her day, which is the most valuable resource so many of us entrepreneurs have. How to create an efficient and unforgettable unboxing experience as a lot of these channels just become more expensive and the competitive set continues to grow. Where is there areas to differentiate and really stand out from the competition and bring those customers back again. And then just thinking through international expansion. Again, a lot of times for most of us here, we're based in the US, we're looking to expand as quickly as we can here, and then looking to maybe, cross the pond and jump over to the UK or Ireland or some of the other English-speaking countries and then expand more globally in Europe and so forth. But, with Leonie based over in Ireland, her approach has been a little bit different. So, before we jump into the questions, Leonie, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you have a very diverse career: artist, DJ, Pilates instructor. How did you end up here as an e-commerce founder?
Well, there's no logic to my career path. Anyway, I'll say that first of all. Other than I've always kind of floated into what interests me rather than what was the end goal. So I went to art college after school because I liked art, and then I ended up painting for 10 years, and then I had an art studio in Dublin. The recession hit just after I had my last exhibition there. And then I came home one weekend and ended up meeting my husband. So that kind of took me from one side of Ireland back to the other one, which I came from. And then I was looking for something creative. I wanted to do a master's, and I ended up in a marketing master's in the University of Limerick. And I studied brands and I studied consumer behavior. And then I just fell in love with brands. And at the time I had started to become a Pilates instructor just to put myself through that study. Because I've always loved training, I've always loved health and wellness and fitness. And then when the master's was over, I got married straight away in Ibiza. And then I went, okay, I actually love brands too much. I want to find out more. So I signed up for 5.5 years to do a PhD on visual literacy and branding. So that was kind of where everything kind of came together, my interest in the visual world and then my interest in business. So my PhD was where those two worlds meet. And it was essentially that, the visual is important for brands to do, So straight away after that, or in the middle of that, I had the idea for Juspy, and kind of bringing all those skills together, all those interests together, I was able to create a brand, build a brand that was in the health and wellness space, that I could play around with the look of from an art point of view. And that's kind of where everything kind of came together.
So before we get into the important questions, you mentioned, art a few times. You've got your shirt that's much cooler than mine. You designed that as well, or no?
Oh, no, that's just Sarah. Yeah.
All right. There we go. So Juspy, you mentioned, while traveling and through your studies, you decided to launch it, but what was the real catalyst and why, why this space in particular?
Yep. Like most people, very simple observation in your own life changes the way you think about something and the problem that you see and you can't unsee. So for me, it was 2013. I had my first daughter, and then 2014, about 10 months later, I was feeding her. She was 10 months old. I was studying. I was exhausted. And I was trying to wean her, and I had seen a bottle of baby, or a box of baby formula, and it kind of said on the pack, everything you need in one box. And I just went, oh my God, babies are getting so well looked after. I actually need that. So the idea originated as a kind of a mommy formula or something for really tired mothers, because when I was in that space, I thought I was the most tired person in the world. Like, I thought there was nobody as exhausted as I was. So that's kind of where the idea, and that was the catalyst that started. So there was no brand, there was no Juspy idea. There was just a very simple idea for an all-in-one solution for a really tired person that knew about health. Like, I knew about nutrition, I'd studied it, I knew about what to eat, but I was just too tired. And I come from a family where we have a sweet tooth anyway. And my grandmother, she is salt and butter in everything, or she was. And so it was like we like the indulgent side of life as well. But I would have been a bit of a health nut, so I kind of would have limited that, or, you know, I could do that. But when I was that tired, all I craved was sugar. All I craved was coffee and chocolate. So at the time then, I was teaching postnatal Pilates as well, because I'd shifted my Pilates career into studying all about postnatal and training women safely. So I used to teach postnatal Pilates classes, and all the women that came into me were all tired and all like really overeating chocolate and coffee, and, you know, cereal was a big staple of their diet, you know, too tired to cook anything, and cereal and was the nearest thing they had. And these were like smart women, early 30s, just, you know, knew better, but just too tired. So that was the catalyst. I really didn't do anything else with it, only an occasional thought, until I graduated. So I graduated in the summer of 2016, 6 months pregnant again. So I thought, what better time to dive back into the postnatal space when I was going to be postnatal again myself, and kind of do some like really empathetic consumer research through my own eyes.
Nice. That really hits home for me. Again, I obviously did not deliver the baby, but I never drank coffee until we had our first child. And it just, it definitely changes your life. And next thing I know, I'm buying whatever the ventis from Americanos from like Starbucks, just to like inject caffeine into my veins.
Just anything. You were just anything, and you just want anybody to do it for you.
Exactly. Juspy. What does Juspy mean, or like what's the significance there?
Yeah, so leading on from that, so as I said, the whole idea has gone from the postnatal space now, but and it was again another consumer insight from one of my ex-Pilates students. Was she said, I'm more postnatal now and more tired now 3 years after, because I'm back at work, I've, you know, toddlers, and I'm like so tired. So it kind of shifted me from, okay, tired, busy people. So then I started developing the brand, and I didn't have a name for it yet. And it kind of, the whole idea of the brand was, when you're a new mom, at least, as I said, the catalyst for this idea or this concept was, when you're so tired and so busy, you get through the day, and each day is different, and each day can be more challenging than the next. So whatever way I turn up on this particular day, don't judge me for it. You know, if I get dressed some days as a mom, that's a big deal. If, you know, the house is not going to be clean, you know, and the key thing, the key term that we did when we started developing the brand was unapologetic. So it's just such a great word for, you know, you are who you are today, and there's life challenges and life stages that affect what you're doing today. So you get on with things. So you just be who you are. And then when we started doing I always wanted a cool brand name, one that was made up, one I could get the .com and trademark for. So myself, my brother, who's he works in product, and my cousin, they're both 10 years younger than me, marketing as well. So we sat in a room and brainstormed, and I pitched, you know, that I wanted to be kind of like, you're enough in the day, you know, live in moments, live in your life stage, you know, that life changes all the time. and Juspy. So then a WhatsApp group, and a couple of days later, my cousin threw out the term Juspy, and I thought, oh, it's very holistic and it's very kind of, beauty parlor or something, like a massage parlor. And my brother said, just spell it phonetically. So Juspy. So the brand is playful and it kind of fits with that because it's made up. And then a cool story about the brand was, so I checked the trademark, I could get the trademark straight away. And then I looked for the .com. So funnily enough, the .com was gone. So I found out who owned the .com and I emailed her, and she was a mother of 5 in New Jersey, or Jersey, the island actually. And I emailed her and she sold it to me for €200. So I got the .com. That's
a great price for a 5-letter .com.
Yeah, she had it years. She just, again, made it up herself. So yeah, I was set from there. So Juspy means just be you.
I like that. And you mentioned, especially with your brother's background and your understanding of the marketing space as well, just spelling it phonetically. Sometimes I see these companies and you have to ask them 17 times over, like, how do you spell that? What is it? There's a number in the middle of that domain. So it's important, and it's something that people can remember. And if you tell them out on the street, when they go home, they can type it in and remember it as well.
But it's funny because I got a lot of stick at the start from people saying, no one's going to pronounce that properly. They're going to say, just pee, like you're going to the bathroom, and it's going to be Juspy. And it's really funny because when I had the fresh drink, which was the first product, because it was kind of like a smoothie bottle, they presumed that the brand was called Juspy because it kind of smoothie juice kind of area. So I ended up using it as an excuse I did a little short video for Instagram recently just telling people how to pronounce it. So it's not Juspy or Juspy, it's Juspy, like a bit of fun, So any problem, you can turn it into a marketing video.
Nice, I like it. I know when I was joining ShipBob almost 3 years ago, and I was telling people, where I was going, they're like, ShipBob? And they're like, oh, so the first thing you're gonna do is change the name? And like everybody said that. And I'm like, well, I think the name is pretty genius then, because everybody remembers it. And also you tell somebody walking down the street or in a bar, they're gonna remember it and be able to spell it on the first time. So let's get back to you and like your product evolution. You started creating something that, was this fresh, ready-made drink, and then you made it into this shelf-stable product. What was the tipping point there, and how did that impact, how you were able to expand your total addressable market and really start to grow much faster?
Yeah, it's funny when you make decisions when you don't know what you don't know. Like the original idea was for a powdered formula for busy people or for moms. And then I asked advice of someone and they were like, you know what? Aren't moms busy enough making up bottles? Won't they want something to drink straight away? And I went, yeah, that's a great idea. And it went full of my bias, and I went on a 3-year journey creating a product that was so difficult to get off the ground. So I developed this amazing tasting, like you might not know in the States about a bar of chocolate called Terry's Chocolate Orange. And it was a chocolate bar. It tasted like that. Like it was like a melted chocolate Easter egg. So it was made with the 10 most amazing ingredients, all natural. And I made sure it was all natural, but that had consequences. So it was a 30-day shelf life. Then I found a process called high pressure processing, which it's like as if it's under the sea and it kills all the microbiome really underwater. That buys you another 14 days. So we had about 43, 44 days on the drink. But couldn't find anyone to make it, I always wanted, because I was a mom with 2 young kids, I wanted an e-commerce business, and I wanted to be able to stay at home with the kids and juggle my life around their school and preschool and the business. What I ended up doing was going down to Cork, manufacturing 1,000 bottles, like pouring them like I was working in a bar into a bottle, capping the bottle, labeling the bottle, packing the boxes, and they had to go straight into chill storage. So really expensive courier, chill storage, back up to Dublin to get that process done to lengthen the shelf life, back down to Limerick to get storage, into the cool freezer place and unpacking boxes again, and then labeling them myself. It was just so laborsome. And then I had to go and stand in shops and give out samples and try and convince people that weren't my target market that it was a nice, healthy product. And because it was made with cacao, but it looked like chocolate, they wouldn't taste it because they didn't believe me that it was good for you or that it was healthy. So what I always heard was, oh, no, I'm trying to be good. So people have they don't believe, I don't blame them because marketing can be so deceptive, but they would not believe me that it was good for them. But it was an incredible product that I hope we'll go back to at some point. But manufacturing, distribution, everything was against me, and the chill chain was the last straw. So, but I plugged away. I wasn't ready to give up. Not that I was being stubborn because I didn't want to give up. It was I wanted to go as far as I could possibly go, and then I couldn't see anything else. And it was like it's like a painting. So when we were in art college and we do a painting, when you're doing a painting, you know when it's done. You keep going, like, and people go, how did you know to stop there? You just kind of instinctively know. So I knew with my product and the brand, I hadn't gotten there yet. And then May 2019, I had beaten every door. I had run out of money, run out of energy. Like I was so 2016, I really started this. So this was 3 years later. Never getting paid, never getting anything other. So I was like, energy was coming from within and just, stubborn, keep going. Didn't want to just leave it go. So then in 2019, I had a conversation with a really good friend of mine, and he had a fresh business, but was kind of a year ahead of me in his journey. And about a year and a half before me, he changed his fresh product to an ambient product. Amazing product called Feed, FIID, and he ended up putting it into a pouch, and he's gone through the roof with his product since he went ambient. So for a year, a year before that I spoke to him, I'd get these whispers or these texts saying ambient, go into long shelf life, and I just wasn't ready to let go. But May 2019, I was done. I wasn't done on Juspy, I was done with that product. I couldn't see anything else to get it to the next stage. So after that, I took the summer to kind of look through all my notes of 3 years. Why am I doing this? What's the product about? And I decided through another conversation with a guy who said, I'll help you reformulate it as a powder. So that was the, exhaustion point, crossroads, whatever, the big pivot. To try and restart the business again from that date.
And where was he based? Was he in Ireland as well?
He was in Ireland. I actually, I used to buy my collagen from him. And he has a business that packs powdered products. So it was like perfect. And he spent 6 months with me reformulating it as a powder.
Okay, nice. That's what I was going to ask is how long was that process to turn it into a powder when you were able to really start to scale it to the masses? How long did that take?
It was about, so again, we started the process in September 2019, and we signed off on the recipe in late January 2020. And it was really interesting because I know it's been a really long journey to be able to restart the business, but everything I learned in those 3 years, I've used since. So for argument's sake, when we were reformulating it, some of the ingredients didn't translate into powder. So there was flax oil in the drink, there was an orange essence that was like a game changer for the drink, but they didn't translate into the powder. Like flaxseed was going to be gritty. So for me, the reason I started taking collagen years ago in the first place was because you didn't taste it, it wasn't gritty, there was no mouthfeel. And I'd be kind of odd with things like that. So I hate is a strong word, but I hate whey protein. I don't like plant proteins, hemp, pea, rice. I've tried them all. And I just can't stomach protein powders like that. So collagen was always a winner for me. But what was interesting when I had it in the drink 4 years ago now, nobody in Ireland cared. So you're only using your own market as a test bed, obviously, but no one in Ireland cared what collagen was. Like I'd have it on the front pack and we tested it and they're like, oh yeah, it tastes nice. Oh yeah, that's fine. And then they had a kind of a different reaction from bovine collagen to marine collagen, which was really interesting. So the idea of bovine collagen really kind of made them turn their nose up. So that's one of the big decisions I made, to change to marine collagen for this product. And the other things we changed was we added ashwagandha to it and baobab. Baobab was for vitamin C for collagen, and the ashwagandha was just an ingredient that I loved for the idea of, stress and sleep and all that kind of stuff. So we reformulated it, and the reason it took so long basically was because of my goal for mouthfeel and my goal for taste. And I was obsessive about the taste. So yeah, that's why it took a little bit longer.
From a branding perspective, in your website, did you have to revamp everything? Okay.
Yeah, so we from the website, Ireland is actually great. There's a really good startup community, and there's a really good government aids. So the government in Ireland have a thing called the Trading Online Voucher, and what they do is they give you like 50% of up to $5,000 to get online as a business or to revamp. So so our timing was kind of good in some ways, that when COVID hit, it was around the time that I wanted to launch, and it pushed everything back by 6 months again. But what it did was, I could apply for that voucher. I got that voucher. I was able to reskin the whole website, make it really e-commerce ready, and kind of, just make sure that I was ready to build an online business more so than a brochure website. So that's what that did for me for that.
So talk me through that. Who built it? How'd you go about that? What did you build it on? How'd you know where to get started?
I have a genius, a very close friend of mine, Emily Ross. She has a company called Inkfine. She's a tech marketer, and they do websites, or they did websites, and she reskinned it for me and rebuilt it for me, her company. But the actual design and the layout was done probably 2 years previous by my brand people. So at the time I had asked them for, and I'm a nightmare client, right? So I was like, I want a bespoke one that you can build really cheaply, that one. So I did that, and so she designed it. And then that was kind of one of the things that we had to tweak for this. Was my previous website was coded to have those designs kind of floating throughout, which meant I couldn't change the back end. So for me, being on my own, I needed to be able to change the back end. So we went for a WordPress website. We went for a theme called Oshine, because it's really easy to just drag and drop blocks and reskin them. And then they built it. I give them the content. I've met a few creative people along the way that have done the photography and the design work. So that's kind of how we got the website up. It's, as I said, it's a WordPress. There was that kind of decision. Again, I don't know if it's the right one or not yet, because everybody seems to be using Shopify, but I'm on Woocommerce, and I find Woocommerce absolutely fine. And it's, it was so easy to integrate it into ShipBob as well. So, I mean, it's doing its job perfectly right now. So I can't complain.
That's great. And I mean, WordPress powers like a third of the internet, and they own Woo, and Woo's used by millions. And so, I don't think you can go wrong there, depending on the type of company you're looking to build. And if it gives somebody like you that flexibility to build on your own, that's great. So maybe any examples there of where Woocommerce has really stood out to you in a good way, and how you've been able to build where you're not like a programmer, or any types of add-ons or plugins that you've thrown in there to make your life easier?
Yeah, I've gotten brave over the last few months. So the guys in Inkfine would have built the website, and then they do the updates, and Ian would say, why is there 3 new plugins here? I'm like, oh yeah, I've just added this and this and this. So
that's what every developer likes to see, a bunch of new plugins and like random, code. So I'm sure they're thrilled.
And they're WooCommerce ones, but they're not like certified, perfect yet. So it's, you get all these, update warnings if you put them out. But let me see. A tip for everybody as well. So I just stumbled upon a WooCommerce page. I was looking for something on Black Friday last year, And Woocommerce like discount, I think it was 50% all of their programs on Black Friday. So I got a couple of plugins for half price on that day. But it was linking Woocommerce to Mailchimp actually is really good, because you can see then what campaigns are working and what ones are bringing in conversion. Woocommerce, the tracking obviously to link in with ShipBob. There's a tracking plugin for that. Just I haven't added too many plugins, but like for the Woocommerce, they evade me now in my head for a minute.
Well, I like that as well. It's especially as a solopreneur or somebody running a small team. It's good just to stay focused on a handful of the channels that work and not to spread yourself too thin. And so maybe let's talk about ShipBob a little bit, or from the fulfillment standpoint. What were you doing before, and what was the tipping point to get you to come over to ShipBob?
Yeah, so my husband laughs at this. So we have this is the honest truth, right, of my pain point. So when I launched in October, my goal was to find a fulfillment partner by June, so I could go to the West Clare, to the seaside, where we have a mobile home or a caravan, like in a caravan park. So I could work from there with the kids for 2 months of the summer. So that was the goal, honestly. But
that's an amazing goal, by the way. I love it.
So I just wanted to be able to work from the computer wherever, remotely, wherever. Whereas before that, so since we launched, it was orders would come in here. I would do two things. I would either be really organized and build 100 boxes or 200 boxes at a time and stack them in all the rooms over there and in this room. And then I'd try and I'd package the product and the stuffing and close the box and put our branded tape around it and have them ready to go. And then just like I'd fill that wall from floor to ceiling with beautiful Juspy boxes. And then when the orders came in, I would just have to print the label. So, but when I say just have to print the label, that would still take me 3 minutes to take the information from here, type it onto the computer. You had to input area codes, phone numbers, email addresses, all by hand, and then print, and then stick. And then the delivery guy would come at 4:00 every day and take what boxes I had. If I wasn't organized, what I would do was I would be on a project on my computer, trying to do an email campaign or do some other work. An order would come in through my right side of the top of the computer, and then I stand up and then I individually pack something, which took way longer. It interrupted my train of thought, and it just seemed to take over the whole day, even though it was just orders coming in. So this is where it all happened.
Yeah, that's a lot, and we hear that often. Is you're talking to people who are looking to switch, and their background is, I'm sure, like what your background looked like before you switched over, which is just boxes filled to the ceiling and just spending a lot of time there.
I have to show you. I don't know if you can see this. So as a Pilates instructor, I have a Pilates reformer here, but instead of it being a Pilates reformer, it's full of boxes underneath and on top. So this used to be my like training room in my office, but now it's just storage for boxes. So
there you go, your former fulfillment center. And so with these individuals that were buying, were they based in Ireland? Were they based in Europe? Were they based around the world? Like, what did that look like?
So primarily Ireland, but there was a few people that heard from a few people, and there was Amsterdam and France and Brussels maybe. And the problem with that is the cost of postage was insane for those countries. So I had my carrier in Ireland, which were great and really, really efficient. But I was charged, I think, at one point €50 to ship to Norway for one small package. With our Irish postal system, it's just been overrun with COVID problems. Taking weeks to get there, tracking made no difference. You're paying by weight, so it could be €40 for postage for a product that wasn't even €40 itself. So that was really challenging because I kind of wanted to get the word out there, obviously, about Juspy, and I still do, but it's too expensive if that's the case. Whereas with ShipBob, the European price for shipping is fantastic, including the pick and the pack and everything.
Nice, that's great. And we can get back to that in a second, but from like a marketing standpoint, how are you attracting these customers in Ireland? And then how are you attracting these customers, outside Ireland?
Again, through the back end of the Woocommerce website, obviously you have the customer origin, Google Analytics as well.
I guess, how are they hearing about Juspy?
Word of mouth. Like, I haven't done, like, most of the marketing I've done up to a couple of weeks ago has been organic.
Okay.
Yeah, me shouting about it.
Nice. I love it, leading with the passion. And so with ShipBob, so now you utilize ShipBob, you're in the Ireland facility. Are you elsewhere too, or are you looking to move into like the UK or the US? Like, what's next?
Yeah, so I've always had global ambition. It's a hashtag here in Ireland for enterprise, but it's something like my kind of motto is you go big or go home. So there's no point in not getting paid for 5 years, for working 14 hours a day, for constantly thinking about it in the middle of the night, if you're not going to go big or go home. So, again, I always wanted to build a brand that was worth something, that was, that it stood for something and that was fun and that could build into an iconic brand. So for me, again, I had just like my goal for the summer with the fulfillment. It seemed out of reach, and I was looking at kind of who was doing it in Ireland, and there's a lot of companies doing it in Ireland and some Irish companies as well. But for me, because of my ambitions and where I want to go with this, the fact that ShipBob, first of all, was an American company, based in Canada, based in Ireland, based in the UK. For me, the logistics of dealing with one partner that could do all that and that could help me get this product around the world was just, again, a friend of mine said to me, this sounds too good to be true. Do your due diligence and find someone. And I actually asked a guy we know that's really heavy into the e-commerce space. And he was like, yeah, I've heard of them. I've heard loads of people say really good things about them. Go for it. And it was, it was a risk because I didn't know anything about ShipBob at the time, but yeah, worth the risk.
Good. I'm glad. I know you mentioned to my colleague, Christina, that you saved something like 40 to 50% of your time, which was spent on fulfillment. And that's not outside the norm. We hear that all the time. Any other tips for people looking to save time to run their business? Or I guess what's next when you look at like the things that you need to start to get off of your plate to keep giving you more time in the day?
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get more time in the day as such. I'll just use the time for better things. So what I learned about the fresh product was my time was so wasted standing in the shop giving out samples. And I'm not saying that that's not important or that you don't talk to your customers. I'm just talking to my customers in a different way. So I just saw someone put up in the chat there, like, how do you offer money back guarantee? I don't. It's something I'd have no problem doing because I'm so confident with my product. But what I have done there, and this is some time I've got back to do something else, which was we decided to put up an offer where you just sign up to get a free sample because it's a new product, it's an expensive product. Marketers tell people things all the time about how great their product is. That's their job. So how can you trust people? So what I'm trying to do is break through barriers now that I have my time, so we offered a sachet, 140 gram sachet to anyone in Ireland. And it was a risk, obviously, because it would cost a couple of euros to, post it and the cost of the actual product itself. But it allowed me to talk, like someone would send me their address. I would say it's on the way. They would say, thanks so much. Please let me know what you think. They'd come back to me after they have the sample. Here's a discount code for your first order. And I've built this rapport with someone for 3 or 4 or 5 emails, and most of them have bought from the sample. So I want to cut that return, like the need for someone to return it because they've tasted it and they've gotten over that barrier. And the other thing I did with ShipBob once I started was, so I'll just show you. So this is the pouch. So sometimes in the manufacturing, like this bit of air that's in it is squished out of it. and the packaging doesn't look 100% like I would like to send it out to someone on their first order. So I asked the guys in the Irish fulfillment center, could they put, if they identify those, could they put them in a different box and set it up as a different SKU? And I called it Waste Not, Want Not. So I've created the same product but a different version, and it's discounted, slightly discounted, like €5. And I've said, this is my effort in food sustainability, like, because I don't want those packs to be thrown out. The product is perfect. People that like a discount are buying it. The ShipBob did an audit on all of my stock, and then just anything they found, they put it in a bin, and we put that up on the website. So it just meant I don't have to handle returns of product that's less than perfect, because there are people that like less than perfect. So
I love those examples. Those are both really good examples. I need to maybe steal some of those, where one, you were, giving, the trials out to help build your email list, build rapport with the customers. Like you said, they could try it first. And so their propensity to return or likelihood is so much less, because like you said, they've already tried it before. So why would they return it?
Yeah.
And that's fascinating, where you're going the extra mile, and the product's not any different. It's just the aesthetic of the unboxing experience, and adjusting the price pretty significantly, €5, just by the look, just to reduce those returns, which can add so much complexity to your business. So yeah, I guess related to what Karen wrote in the chat, how do you handle returns overseas, or has that not really been a thing so far?
Touch wood, I've never had returns. The one thing I discovered today, actually, so I'm learning all the time, but I set up a subscription system this week for heavy users and light users. So you pick 1 or 2 packs, and we deliver every month. So that was a Woocommerce plugin, actually, that I got. So I haven't seen a repeat order, so I'm trying to figure out like how that's going to work with ShipBob and stuff. So it should come up as another order, and it should just go out. But what I discovered today, and it's a development issue that I have to get sorted on my side, but we have an offer of a 2-pack or a 1-pack, but it still goes in as one order. So I got an email from a customer today to say that only one of the 2 packs she ordered arrived. So I think we now have to, set up a different SKU that clicks that it's 2 pouches in a box instead of 1. So you're kind of, so I was on to her straight away, sent out another one straight away. But again, it's just kind of managing. If people know what to expect, they're not disappointed. Mm-hmm. Or if people like that, if someone gets a pack that's looks less than perfect, they might, tell someone that it's like, oh, it's this price and it arrived like this. Whereas if you set them up with an expectation, it's going to arrive like this, and they know that, they won't be disappointed, and they might actually appreciate the honesty, because I think honesty is lacking a lot around, because people are skeptical, unbelievably skeptical these days, because they're let down. They're let down by, over promising. So I think if you can be, like you say, if something goes wrong, 100% I will fix it. I will try and fix it, because one person saying something bad will trickle to 10 other people. The exact same as if you can smother them with kindness. Like that girl today, I sent her 2nd pouch, but I also sent her 2 extra little single serving samples to just say, my bad, I'm sorry, hands up, try not to be doing that again. So I just think if you're nice, you're nice. People will remember that, they remember how you make them feel, that old saying,
Completely agree. I feel like if businesses took anything from COVID, it was really opening up those lines of communication with their customers, and especially with everybody being home, they had a little bit more time to do so on both ends. Yeah. And so it's definitely something that should never go away. You can't go wrong by treating your customers great and having those open lines of communication, and they can really feed into what you're going to build next. So we've talked a lot about you selling on Juspy.com. I know it's been a big focus for yours, and with your redesign and the new website, but you're selling through Amazon as well. So maybe talk us through that a little bit, like what pushed you over the edge to start selling on Amazon, maybe what question marks did you have on Amazon that you overcame pretty quickly, and how's that been?
I have so many questions about Amazon. It's a beast, but it's definitely something that you can't ignore. So because I was so busy with everything else, I said I'd just dip my toe in the water. So in October last year, I found a distributor, a reseller in Ireland that does it, knows how to do it, does the listings. So I said, look, you know what, there's no harm in, let's try and set up a UK listing, and let's see if we can get that up and running. And the timing was dreadful because we started trying to do the listing in October, and with Brexit and everything happening, we got the listing, I think, mid-January. So I'm only on UK since mid-January. But since I've looked at it seriously for myself, to do it myself and bring it much more strategically into the plan, the e-commerce plan, and looking at the Europe 5. So that would be Ireland, the UK are still included in the EU 5 for Amazon, Germany, Spain, Italy, and France. So the minefield I'm at the moment is trying to figure out whether to do through one country at a time with Amazon or do pan-EU. So pan-EU is basically that you ship it anywhere, you pick a country, any country you like in the EU 5, and Amazon are free to move it within any of those countries for storage purposes, but then that opens you up to millions more customers. The problem with that is you have to get a VAT number for every country in case they want to store your product in those countries. So then you've got VAT implications for that route. But that route is actually cheaper per pick and fill and fulfillment than the other version. So you have more customers, cheaper fulfillment, but you've VAT implications. And what I'm trying to find out from Amazon at the moment is that it doesn't do it for food, the pan-EU, but because my product is ambient and supplement, will they do that? So I'm trying to figure that out because that will affect that decision. If they don't, then I'm going to go for the largest market outside of the UK, which is Germany. And then I ship my stock to Germany, and then you meet another problem. You have to have your product in the local language that you sell. So then it comes, okay, now I'm in the process of trying to get my label, the back of my label translated into 4 languages, apart from English, and see if I can fit it all on the same page, or else I'll have to get a big sticker for the back of each pack that in each country I ship to. So yeah, it's an animal that I am looking forward to getting to know much more this year. But again, so with me being, on my own, not having 10 hands, I spoke to a friend of mine that has dealt with Amazon from Singapore and Asia through his company, and his advice was find an Amazon prep FBA person. And then I sent Brian and Paige from ShipBob an email going, you don't happen to do FBA prep, do you? And she went, absolutely. Here's the link to the page. So another problem solved. So when I'm ready, they charge to put the Amazon sticker on, they ship it. But you know what? It's cheaper than me spending time trying to stick on labels that I haven't a clue about. So yeah, get the experts in, for sure.
Good. I like it. I've got so many questions there, and it brings me back to my time at Watchmaster. We were based in Berlin, and me being an American and living over there, and we're spoiled where there's some things are easier in the US and some things are harder, and vice versa with over in Europe. But like that and cross border is just not something we deal with when we ship across state lines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, granted, like sales tax might be slightly different, but it's just a much easier problem to navigate. Question here from Bridget. Let's see. Your experience selling Amazon, from your perspective, does it make international sales easier selling through Amazon versus your website? And does it make handling VAT any easier selling on Amazon versus your website?
So with my website, because I'm based in Ireland, most of my customers are going to be Irish, really. So in the VAT respect, you get and it's funny, I got a VAT ruling on my product recently as a supplement. So in Ireland, that's 13.5% VAT. Then you go to Germany, it's 19. Then you go to the UK, it's 23. Then, so there's different. So the challenge I was having was, someone told me what you should be doing on your website is having your price and then at cart, add VAT. And personally, as a customer, I hate when I see that because it feels deceptive. Even though as a business owner now, I know why they're doing it, it still feels like you're getting screwed for extra money that you didn't account for at the cart. So I've decided with my own website that it is what it is, the prices, and if I have to take the extra VAT hit, I'm going to take the extra VAT hit for different countries. But as far as Amazon, yeah, I would say I can't say for certain, but I would imagine that, like, simply from the point that Amazon can bump you up their listings, and if you get a run where you're getting good listings, getting good reviews on Amazon, you're going to be open to millions more customers than you are through my own website. Like, my website is me building my brand personally through, it's the hard slog of trying to get people onto my website. Amazon, you have so many people that you don't know or that you'll never think might be into your product. So it's like a big fishing expedition where, there's a bit of risk, there's a bit of chance, there's a bit of luck, going into it. So you never know what can happen. And I can, ask me this time next year what happened, but I can't say that for certain. But what Amazon do, they do things well, is they have a service called Amazon Vat Services. So it's a platform on Amazon where you can go on and apply for VAT in every country. You tick, 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 and they tell you it's like VAT for dummies. You go on and they go, you need these 6 forms, right, for the UK VAT. And then they go, click here to see what the form looks like. Because when someone goes, you need the constitution for your business. You go, what's the constitution again? I can't remember. And then they go, click, oh, it looks like this. Oh, I know where that document is, So it's so simplified, and they just handhold you through the whole process. And then you submit them, and if a form or if anything is wrong, they'll email you and say you uploaded the wrong form. It actually looks like this. Can you go find this? You actually have to email this authority and request a replacement if you haven't got it. It's so simple. Now, it has taken a couple of weeks to get all the forms together. And then now I got an email yesterday to say your VAT has been submitted to the UK government and the German government. And then if there's the next thing I should hopefully get is my VAT numbers.
Nice. And so Amazon, I'm assuming your website doesn't, but with Amazon, do they not have a dynamic VAT calculator based off of where the prospective buyer is located?
Yeah, so this is a bit different. This is that you're responsible for your own VAT returns monthly for your sales on Amazon. So
right, but you couldn't put your price at whatever, $100 for simple math, and then you're going to charge €113.50 in Ireland and €117 or €119 in Germany to account for the VAT.
I have seen actually in some listings recently that they're showing the price ex VAT. But I think there's a standard VAT, and then you have to. I can't answer that question really, to be honest, because I haven't thought of it until you said it. But I'm presuming there's a standard VAT. Mm-hmm. I only know that in the UK, when I get charged the UK VAT rate from Amazon.
Okay.
So maybe it's like you said, maybe it's different. But what I have to do is I have to input sales from Germany. So let's say I'm selling in Germany on Amazon, but I'm also selling in retail in Germany. I can take that number of sales and add it onto Amazon through the same platform and submit them as one, and just submit them whatever cost I have to the German authorities. So I'm presuming actually that it probably would make sense that it's country dependent.
Awesome. So we got another question from Karen, and then I've got a question where I always close this out on. I'm excited to see what you say. So from Karen, are you able to offer samples to other countries, or is that cost prohibitive? And do you charge for shipping only, or is it free? Because Karen says that she's in the US, but she's very interested in utilizing sampling.
So there's been a couple of people from the UK that have asked me for a sample, and I've sent it because it's only €2 postage. And like that, the samples fit in an envelope, so it's not a package going. So if someone is curious, I have no problem. If they contact me directly, I have no problem. Luckily, 1,000 people from America haven't asked me for a sample. But again, I'm kind of looking at Ireland, UK, Europe. So until I was talking to Paige today, I'm just talking, again, ShipBob is putting me in touch with someone in the States that we're going to have a conversation of how complicated would it be for me to ship a pallet to the States? Then how could I drum up customers in the States to get that pallet out of the warehouse? And, so I want to go global, but I don't know if I'm running too fast. So I'm just, we'll see.
Nice. And you don't charge for shipping?
Not sample shipping. No. If I'm doing a sample, it's a gift.
Okay.
It's a gift. I'm going to take the risk on that and the hit and that whatever, because I think it's worth it. And again, the first time we put that up, I got 225 emails.
That's awesome.
So
I know a lot of authors will do that with books. And maybe the books are just like the Trojan horse for their courses, but it's, whatever, spend $5 or $7 on shipping and handling, and we'll give you the book for free. So question for you to close this out. A long-time entrepreneur, I love your story where you fought through it for years, and, you made a big decision to go more shelf-stable recently, and I've seen a lot of growth and success there, and I'm excited to see how you bring it over to the US. So what is your number one piece of advice for entrepreneurs today?
Live in a bubble where you do it your own way. So I had a conversation yesterday with someone, and she said, are you always getting stick for, design first or design led, or, making this, or being a lone entrepreneur, whatever? And I said to her, if you're going to spend all of this time and heartache and, resilience, fighting and everything, you better do it your own way and make your own decisions. And don't listen to a lot of advisors. I have a lot of mentors and advisors, and you can be over-advised, and you can get really confused in that space, and you can distrust your own purpose. So for me, it's, why did I get into this in the first place? I've never worked for anybody else. I've never had a job. So I don't want to start now. But you want to build something that's, I don't know whether it's a personal thing, but when I grew up, it was, if you were an artist, you were broke, and why would you choose an art as a career? I did it because I loved it. I'm doing this because I love it. It's tough, but it's something worthwhile, and it's making me happy. So happy and distraught at the same time. It's a complete paradox, but I'm doing it my way. I have a poster up here. Do you know Ralph Steadman? That he is the artist for Leaving Las Vegas.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson. So I have his poster up here. My husband got me for my 40th. It says, I'm not like the others. And it's one of his big things. So if I'm making a decision for Juspy to conform to the norm, which is, it's in this category, or we're going to label it this way, I look here and I go, okay, decision is we're going to go the complete opposite to what anybody expects me to do, because that's my way.
I love that. Happy and distraught. But I like how you called that out, where, it's there's paralysis by analysis, and I think the same thing could be done by advice. And like you said, you know what your mission is and why you're doing it, and the only way to do it is your way. And even look at the founders of the largest companies in the world. Who's never been in the position that they've been in? Like anybody, it's they're doing it for the first time as well, and so you got to do it your way. So, Leonie,
you don't know what you don't know. So every day's a school day.
Exactly. Well, Leonie, I really appreciate you taking the time. I enjoyed it a lot. You can definitely feel your enthusiasm for your business, and like I said earlier, it's excited to see where it goes. And for everybody in the audience that joined, again, there's so much you could do with your time, and so appreciate you joining us here. And we'll see you all next week. So thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.